coverage you can count on. This is KCBD News Channel 11's Daybreak Today.
Now at 6 o'clock, a man is dead after an accident in northwest Lubbock. Plus, a federal review of police response to the Uvalde school shooting will soon be released. We'll explain what the report is expected to provide. And a lawsuit filed here in Lubbock against the pharmaceutical company Pfizer may soon be moved to federal court. We'll have that full story just ahead. Today's Wednesday, January 17th. You're watching Daybreak Today. Welcome to Daybreak. I'm Angie Wynn.
I'm Steve Devine. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to everyone. I know it's not warm, but it's warmer, and that's all that matters. Goodness gracious, at least we're not single digits anymore, right?
We're not single digits, but it is still cold, as you referenced. Let's take a look at some temperatures. I want to start there, as I did yesterday. Yesterday morning, we were mostly in the single digits. This morning, mostly mid-teens to near 20 degrees. Lubbock's been down to 19 at the airport. Right now at 20, Levelland 18, Plainview 17, Lamesa at 16. So these temperatures, again, mid-teens to upper 20s with a light wind. Feels like it's in the single digits, but this is an improvement over yesterday where we had the minus signs in front of our wind chill readings. 9 currently here in Lubbock, 6 Levelland, 5 Plainview. Coming up today, sunny until late in the afternoon. We'll see a few high clouds moving in. It's going to be on the windy side, pretty gusty. The southwest direction, the sunshine will mean a much warmer afternoon for us. High temperatures will soar into the 50s this afternoon, so a nice reversal in our temperatures. We'll see an even warmer Thursday before the next cold front arrives. I'll have an update in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Steve. A court battle between Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and the pharmaceutical company Pfizer could be moved soon out of a Lubbock district court. The lawsuit, originally filed in the 99th District Court here in Lubbock, accuses Pfizer of violating the Deceptive Trade Practices Act. Paxton says Pfizer made misleading statements about the duration of the COVID-19 vaccine's efficacy, as well as its protection against transmission and new variants. However, Pfizer claims Paxton's lawsuit has no merit. The company is requesting the case be moved to a federal court since its work was on behalf of the federal government. A man has died from injuries he suffered last week in an accident in northwest Lubbock. 59-year-old Bill Irwin was accidentally run over at the intersection of the Clovis Highway and Indiana Friday evening. Police say Irwin's car broke down and another driver stopped to help move it out of the road. Not knowing Irwin wasn't inside the car, the other driver began pushing it, rolling over Irwin. He was taken to UMC with serious injuries, where he died Monday. A man accused of threatening Lubbock police officers is now awaiting trial. A Lubbock County grand jury indicted Jaime Zarada yesterday for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and retaliation. Police say he pulled a gun on another driver following a crash in March of last year. When officers arrived, investigators say Zarada threatened to kill them. In New York, new details have surfaced in the Gilgo Beach serial killings. Parker Schaffner joins us now from the News Now desk with the latest on this investigation. What do we know, Parker?
Angie, right now Rex Hewerman is charged in the death of a fourth woman, Maureen Bernard Barnes. She is one of the 4 victims whose remains were found near Gilgo Beach in 2010. Police arrested Hewerman in July of last year and charged him in the deaths of 3 of the victims. Now investigators say they have DNA evidence from a leather belt that links Hewerman to Bernard Barnes' murder. Hewerman pleaded not guilty to the new charge. Angie?
Thank you, Parker. Today, a lawsuit against the state of Texas could determine if property owners have the ability to sue their state. The Supreme Court heard arguments Tuesday in the case of DeVilliers versus Texas. Richie DeVilliers, a rancher from Texas, is suing the state after he says a highway built by the state caused his land to flood in 2017.
We lost numerous vehicles. 4 homes on the place were flooded. Upwards over 60 head of cows and bulls, and numerous calves, some horses, a colt.
DeVilliers says the state of Texas should pay him for damages, citing the 5th Amendment's takings clause. Attorneys for the state say due to a technicality, you can only sue if local or federal governments wrong you, not state government. Justices are expected to rule in the spring. In South Texas, a federal review of police response to the Uvalde school shooting is set to be released. 19 children and 2 teachers died when a gunman opened fire inside Robb Elementary School on May 24th of 2020. 2022. 376 officers responded to the shooting, but it took 77 minutes for them to enter the room and end the threat. The DOJ's report is meant to provide an independent account of police actions that day, also to identify lessons learned and best practices that could help first responders in future active shooter situations. In Washington, President Biden will meet with congressional leaders today to discuss a supplemental spending bill. The proposed legislation aims to send aid to Israel, Ukraine, Taiwan, and the U.S. border with Mexico. Now, the sit-down comes one day after the Senate voted in favor of advancing a short-term funding extension. However, challenges remain and the clock is ticking. John Lawrence reports.
Just over 2 weeks into the new year, and U.S. lawmakers are racing around trying to keep the government up and running.
House and Senate negotiators work hard to reach an agreement on top-line government funding levels for the current fiscal year.
If they can't come to terms, funds for key government agencies, including military construction, Veterans Affairs, transportation, the Energy Department, and housing, will dry up.
Work continues to deliver full-year appropriations through regular order. Shutting down the government, even part of it, would interrupt this important progress.
In order to prevent a partial shutdown, the House and Senate have to pass a short-term funding extension and get it to the president's desk. The deadline, 11:59 p.m. Eastern on Friday.
Now, while most Democrats and Republicans want to avoid a shutdown, a small group of hard-right extremists seem dead set on making a shutdown a reality.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says a bipartisan effort is needed for the continuing resolution, but House Speaker Mike Johnson is getting grief from some in the GOP, including the House Freedom Caucus, who posted, quote, "This is what surrender looks like."
The only tactic the hard right has in its playbook is to bully everyone else into submission, just like Donald Trump does.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The GOP debate set in New Hampshire has now been canceled. Presidential candidate Nikki Haley says she would only participate if former President Trump would be there. The candidates were given a deadline to confirm whether they'd be there or not to take the stage, and neither met the deadline. With DeSantis as the only candidate committed to the debate, the ABC network decided to cancel the event. The next Republican presidential primary debate is set for Sunday. And it's 6:07, and we're checking in again with Steve Devine. He has a look outside for us this Wednesday morning. It's hump day. It's another cold one, but not as cold. Steve, good morning.
Good morning. Not as cold. Instead of those single-digit temperatures with sub-zero wind chills, this morning we have, well, most of us in the teens, mid-teens to near 20. 20 is where we are right now here in Lubbock with the breeze, though it feels like it's 9 degrees. Yesterday at this time had that minus sign in front of our wind chill readings. Not the case this morning, but the wind is going to be a factor in our weather. One is it gets a little bit uncomfortable because it's going to get so gusty this afternoon. Most of us 15 to 25 sustained, gusts 35 near 40, but the wind speed's likely to pick up closer to 20 to 30 in the northwest. So we may get some gusts 40-ish, maybe a little bit above that in that area. So we'll have that part of the wind to deal with. But the southwesterly direction, this is another big factor in the forecast for today. It's going to warm things up quite a bit. Looking at highs today from the low and mid 50s in the eastern viewing area to the upper 50s to near 60 in the west. Lubbock today at about 56 degrees. That's pretty close to the average for this time of year. That's actually 55. Overnight, it's going to stay pretty gusty here with the winds maintaining that westerly component. So as they move from New Mexico into West Texas, the elevation drops off. So that results in a little bit of what we refer to as compressional warming. So it won't be as cold tonight. Looking at about 33 degrees, the overnight low here in Lubbock. And tomorrow, even warmer with a high of 65, about 10 degrees above the average. Mostly sunny, gusty once again with cold air following a cold front late Thursday, dropping us once again back into the 30s for highs Friday, Saturday. That's not as cold, though, as what we've just been through. Angie?
Exactly. Thank you, Steve. It's 6:09 on your Wednesday. Still to come on Daybreak today, a local business is closing after 6 decades. Plus, Goodwill will soon offer free financial literacy classes in Lubbock and Amarillo. How the course will help you become more financially responsible if you choose. We'll be right back. There's more Daybreak today next on KCBD News Channel 11.